Hey there, this is Therese Skelly, and I am so excited that you are going to be listening to an episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. Do you like those two words? Fiercely Brilliant. My hypothesis is that you are here for a reason. We all are. Our souls have led us on journeys that have very often taken some twists and turns, and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes there's struggle and there's loss and there's challenge, and in the middle of that, there's always a way out. And it's those times that often lead us into our great life and work. So you're going to hear stories in these episodes of myself and other beautiful people that share the journey. They share how they got to the place where they're standing, working in their brilliance, and being the powerful leaders that they are. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Hey, this is Therese, and on this episode of a Fiercely Brilliant podcast, I want to ask you a really important question. Are you ready? Do you need to come with a warning label? I know that might sound funny, and I'll give you the backstory and why it matters. Okay, I was in my mastermind group. I was talking to one of the clients. They were in their hot seat, and she was really frustrated. And she came and said, I want you to help me with patience. I just need to get more patient because some of my clients, they're not getting it. They're not going at the same speed I'm going. And if maybe I could be more patient, and we all were like, no, you're not going to be more patient. Your superpower is to turbocharge people's businesses. And so I said to her, look, you need to come with a warning label. And she started cracking up. But if you think about it, what if before somebody signed on with you, they had read your warning label, like flashing lights, like this isn't meant for everybody. Flashing lights. Only a certain few brave of you people should apply. So what would your warning label be? And why does it matter? See, what we do, and this is what I was finding with this client of mine, she was trying to say, well, let me back up. Let me just tell you about her. Okay, she's a consultant in business. She makes $1 million businesses. She's crazy brilliant, has a beautiful track record of success. And she's kind of reinventing herself. So she's changing a little bit the way she does her business these days. So she's getting all these clients. And this woman is so bright. Like she just can riff strategies. She can see trends. And what was happening is that maybe she wasn't taking on the right clients, or maybe she wasn't onboarding them correctly, saying, hey, FYI, this is how we roll. This is how I best can serve you. And so she was trying to basically say, well, I'm up here. I'm like in, warp speed, but I'll come back to them at 30 miles an hour and I'll try to, and I said to her, hon, instead of you going down to their level, pull the clients up. That's what they're hiring you for. They are hiring you so you accelerate their business. Don't do it the other way. Okay? So the warning label that I wanted her to say is, if you work with me, we're going fast. If you work with me, I'm going to call you on your bullshit, and we're just going to make the fastest path to cash, basically. So that's part of her warning label. And it was so exciting because she's like, oh my God, I get to be myself. Oh my God, I can use all my gifts. I don't have to dial it down or slow myself down oh my gosh. And I got to tell you, it's crazy. When I think of what I do, I'm a business intuitive, but I do business coaching, right? I just enter through the intuition, and that way we grow the you and we figure out what's holding you back, and then we add the strategy on top. Most of the sessions, I don't know the numbers in this moment, but most of the sessions, I'm giving permission. Most of the sessions, most people I work with, they come to me and they say, so-and-so is doing it this way, or my last mentor taught me this, and I've tried it, and I'm like, stop. Why are you doing it their way? Why are you putting yourself in their box? Why are you not listening to yourself? Right? And so part of this, you should come with a warning label idea, is that if your people understand how you are, number one, the right people will come to you. And number two, they're going to get the best results because you get permission to work in your genius. But what if you don't have permission, right? I literally had to give this client permission on the call and say, no, girl. You're not doing it. You're not slowing down. Be fully you. Another one of my clients is this really powerful man, and he tries to make himself soft and spiritual and vulnerable. And I'm like, dude, you are like rocket fuel. Be rocket fuel. Don't be, well, I'm straddling. I kind of have this spiritual part and I want to be, no. Your clients need you to say, jump on. This shit's going. And yet we think we have to either diminish our stuff or be a little bit more of this or a little less of that. Are you guys relating? I actually had one of my extremely successful clients. She's, very, very financially sound, doing really well. A very famous mentor said to her, you shouldn't be so spiritual. You shouldn't say these words because you're the clients. And I'm like, shh, stop. I know you paid her a bunch of money. So she outsources her strategy and she comes to me for the energetic and the mindset support. And I'm like, yeah, no. Everything about you is spiritual. Your work is spiritual. Who you are is spiritual. You attract people. You offer spiritual solutions. Why in the world would somebody talk you out of it and put you in a different? Shh, no, right? So you have your warning label, but to get that fully, you got to be giving yourself full permission to be whatever it is that you are. You know what I realized? So when I think of my warning label, just FYI, I decided I like to go deep. I'm not content. I've never been content just to give you some marketing strategies or, oh, here's a tip or here's a tactic. That's cool. I'm interested in the deep. I'm interested in the transformation, right? I don't want you just to make some money. I want your freaking life to change. I want your relationships to improve and all the, like, I'm after all of it. We're going in, we're going deep. So if you're just looking for like 3 little tips, don't show up on my door. Another warning label that I would say is, and you might need to let me love you, right? Because that's what happens with my clients. I personally lead very relationally. And so I love it at the end. I don't have to hold back. Like the end of a call, I'll say, okay, love you, bye. Like, and maybe not everybody likes that, wants that, needs that, but that's how I roll. So my warning label is you come in, you're going to get loved up. You also come in, you might get your ass kicked, but you'll be so loved up, you'll be okay with that, right? Because I'm going to push you. And my warning label is we're going to go fast because I don't want people that keep collapsing and breaking down and are in all the fear. I can do all that. And let's go, let's go, let's go. So if that's my warning label, you know exactly who you are. My warning label says, I want to work with high achievers who have huge visions to make a big change and they want to have a great freaking life. They want to enjoy their kids and their families and their weekends and their partners and all the yummy things, craft cocktails and a glass of whiskey. What? They want to enjoy all the things. So if you're that, you see my warning label and there's an instant resonance. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I've just learned over the years, call in the right people, be who I am, and then call in the right people. I just got a new client and she'd been on like probably 3 or 4 teaching webinars that I'd done. And she said, this is kind of weird because, you're so loving, but wow, in person, meaning because she hired me. She's like, you're really like, you make me work, you do stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really grounded as well. I love you and let's go. Right. And so is my webinars that called her because I was fully who warning labels, they all get the warning labels, everybody knows. And so it's easy when you are being your authentic self. Okay, so number 1, what is your warning label? Number 2, what would it take for you to start calling your clients higher? Because what we do is we think we have to serve other people. We think, like, I've known after all these years where my people are starting at, right? They need to have a certain level of business, a certain level of financial ability. They need to have a certain level of commitment and willingness. I don't want somebody that's like, well, I'm in the corporate world and I'm thinking of starting. No, I don't want starting up brand new. That's just not my gig anymore. There's a lot of people that are brilliant at that. I know what my gifts are best served with, but I didn't for years. So what is it going to take for you to say, okay, in order for me to call my clients to their best place, like call them up, do my great work. Number one, what do I have to know to be true about myself? And number two, who do I need to be calling in? And where are they at in their lives or their businesses? What must be in place? What's the bare minimum? Years ago, I was working with a woman that she was like teaching marketing to healers, I think. And so she was all excited. She has a whole curriculum. And here's the mistake she made. She didn't come to Mama T. She did not ask me and say, what do you think? She's just like developed it, which I don't know why she didn't use my help, but that's how she was. It's just, I wouldn't allow that today, but she's like, okay, I got a course. I'm offering a course. And so I started helping her to market it, but I didn't help with the design of it. And halfway through, she's like, this is driving me crazy because they don't even have websites. And I'm having to answer all these questions. And I said, note to self, right, love? What do you have to have before you enter this program? That's what we have to think about. You can't just take anybody ever. Like she spent half the course doing remedial stuff. And she was so frustrated because all the things she wanted to teach, she'd attracted people. She didn't vet them fully. So it's, what's your warning label? Who do you have to be? And where do your people have to be at in order for it to have the best fit? I think these are really important questions. And let's just throw in a fourth one. What permission do you need today? Like if I could, because I really have one, if I could wave my magic fairy wand over you and say, poof, you get to do it exactly how you want to do it. What have you been holding back? What are you hiding? What, like, if we could just pull off all the fear, pull off all the like, oh my gosh, this is so out there. What do you want to say? How do you want to say it? How do you want to show up? Let's start angling you. So write all that down, figure that out, and let's start angling you in a direction. Like, okay, what would one moving in that direction be? Claiming it, naming it, owning it, right? And embodying it. You've got to like, this is me. I don't know, a number of months ago, I'm like, hark, I'm a business intuitive. I didn't know that. I am all those things, and people would tell it to me, but I was like, oh my gosh, I can't say that word. And I didn't know what to call myself for 1,000 years. And just when I claimed that word, I'm like, oh, it's literally like something opened up. It was my permission. Again, I had been doing the work. People knew me as that. But when I said, I'm this, boom, everything landed, right? Literally everything opened up. I started owning the value more. I can talk about it now. It's crazy. And I've been in this, like, what do I call myself for like 7 years? It's been a really long journey. And I want to save you from that. So what is the permission you're not granting yourself? What would it look like if you did? And let me know, right? I want to hear how it goes, because this embodiment stuff, anybody can do strategy. That's the easier part. This is the more difficult part, right? Really owning, especially if you're working in a transformative or more esoteric space. If you sell websites, you still have to answer these questions, but it's a commodity. Whereas if you're a coach or a healer or a therapist, acupuncturist, it's you who's up for sale. Kind of, right? It's you. It's your work, your gifts, your energy, your intuition, your magic. And it's harder to sell when you are up for sale. So I want to hear how this lands for you. Reach out. Let me know what permissions you're granting to yourself. And this is a really fun one. What's your warning label? Let's just play with that. Share that with me. All right. Glad you're here. And make sure you can think of 2 people right now that you're like, oh my gosh, they have got to hear this episode. Send it their way. All right. Peace and blessings. Bye now.
Hey, I really appreciate you listening to that last episode. And I would love to get to know you a little bit more and to get to connect with you on a deeper level. And here's what I suggest. I've got a Facebook group that corresponds with the content of these podcasts. It's called Fiercely Brilliant Women in Business with Therese Skelly. So if you just search Facebook, Fiercely Brilliant with Therese Skelly, you'll find the group. It's a really nice group. It's a small group, and I'm super active in it. Each week, we have a lot of supportive conversations. I share a lot of resources. I do a lot of coaching on the spot, and I would love to have you join me there. So if you like the vibe of this podcast and you want to hang out with a pretty darn cool community of women, join us at Fiercely Brilliant on Facebook with Therese Skelly. Alrighty, peace and blessings, and I hope to see you in the group. Bye now.